Oh, yeah. 2018. It's a new year. It's a new you. Thanks as always for tuning into the Crash Bang Boom podcast. That's just a little word of advice, a little spring in your step, a little sunshine in your life, a little glasses half full kind of speech. You know what I'm saying? It's a new year after all. So what's going on? Y'all feeling a little shitty going back to work after a few days of boozing and eating way too much food? I bet you do. In any case, today's guest is drummer Des Kinsel, who is one-third of the high-octane, pummeling viking-stoner doom power trio High on Fire. We get into spinal fusions, shoulder surgeries, makeup sex, the importance of stretching, 20 years of High on Fire, guitar solos and tribal beats, earthquakes and touring advice, the German critiques, and working with Kurt Ballou on the last two records, which both were fucking awesome, if you haven't heard them already. Thanks as always to St. Vitus Bar for helping me to make these podcasts possible and for always throwing down some seriously badass shows in their venue. So here we go. Happy 2018, you fucks. Now go on a liver cleanse, you heathens. Crash, bang, boom.
Crowds go mad with joy. Get the drum.
Des Kinsel from High on Fire. What's happening, man? How you making out?
Doing good. Trying to stay warm.
Oh, yeah, we're in a cold basement right now for those of you listening to this. It's not quite as cold as it is outside. I rode my bike to work and back, and I believe the wind chill is about 2 degrees today.
It's frigid.
It's a little too much, man.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
So you're double dipping on the gigs. You're playing 2 gigs, one earlier, one later, obviously. Do you have any particular ritual or warm-up or lack thereof to prep yourself so you don't blow yourself out, you know, overextend yourself?
Yeah, well, I do try to warm up a bit more now than I used to in the past. I'm 44, so, you know.
I'm 41. I'm not far behind you.
Yeah, so I'm sure then you're well aware of that it takes a little longer to get the blood flowing.
Yeah.
You know, so, just some stretches, a little bit of stick rudiments.
Yeah.
But really the stretching. Yeah.
See, I don't do the stretching much, man.
No. I mean, I have to. I've been touring, playing drums for 20 years. It's taken its toll. I've had a couple surgeries, you know.
Have you?
Yeah.
What surgeries, man?
I had to have a shoulder surgery.
Oh, boy.
That was, I think, definitely just from the wear and tear over years of drumming.
Right.
And a spine fusion.
Oh, dude.
Which I don't know if that was from drumming.
Oh, fuck.
But I don't think it helped it out, you know. So,
No, it did not.
Yeah. And that was in the neck.
Right.
So, but after I've been feeling good recently, I just try to, like I said, kind of stretch, do a little bit with the exercises the physical therapist gave me. That's not necessarily before the set. I'll just try to do that as a routine, you know. Try to keep mobile on tour.
Yeah.
You know, I've definitely ran into problems, especially in a winter tour.
Oh, yeah.
If I just stay vertical too long, sleeping in too late.
Now, with the shoulder surgery, did you alter the setup of your kit or figure out any sort of ergonomic workaround after the fact that you feel like might have caused the problem in the first place?
I did. I kind of raised the stool a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
So rather than sitting super low and
crouching.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of up more, try to a bit more of, you know, more proper posture.
Yeah.
And just not try to flail around like a monkey so much, you know, actually play with proper technique.
Right.
I guess you could say, you know.
Growing up, or like, did you study much, or have you just been a learn-on-the-job kind of guy?
More of a learn on the job. I did take some lessons when I was younger. I mean, I started kind of like, I guess, when I first started, I was 10, but that was just in the school band on a snare drum.
Yeah, same here.
You know, my parents saw that I was into it, so every birthday I'd get another drum, Christmas another drum. And I think I finally had a full kit by 12-ish.
Yeah, took you 2 years, but you finally got there.
Yeah, and then I took some lessons, but only maybe for like a year or so. The guy was pretty cool. I'd go in. He'd have me bring in a song, and he would write it out on the sheet music, and I'd play along with it on my Sony Walkman.
Yeah, I remember the days.
Cassette tapes, and so I did that for a little while, but then it was just better to get together with friends and jam and just kind of do the shit that I wanted to do rather than nothing wrong with learning your rudiments on the snare, but for me at that time it was fucking boring.
I hear you.
So jamming with other dudes was definitely the way to go.
Now, I guess when you were that age, 12, 13, etc., putting your drum set together and jamming with your first bands, where were you living, man? And
I was actually in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. So in the basement in Middletown, Connecticut. Yeah, I'm definitely grateful to my parents letting me bang away.
I ask the question all the time because talking to all the drummers that I've spoken to, it's like I can't imagine the patience that my parents had to listen to me suck, and if that wasn't worse, the entire band sucking.
Yeah,
and years of it at that.
It could have been worse. At least I didn't take up fucking strings or I mean, a kid down the street was doing saxophone. That sounded horrible.
That's bad.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of bad because that's just off pitch and crazy notes and everything. But the thunderous nature and bombastic noise that comes with a drum set is its own ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my dad would yell down if I was playing during his 10 o'clock news.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was? That was the cutoff, and it was
or
news
or 11 o'clock. The news at
Right.
night, he would just kind of start flashing a light and get pissed and, yell down, and it's time to stop. But he, other than that, he put up with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you've always, to my ear, kind of had a pretty pummeling style that I think really complements, obviously, the band and Matt's guitar style and everything. Y'all are such a cohesive unit, pummeling unit, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Did you always have that style early on? Did you connect with hitting hard and kind of the big bombastic nature of it, or did you find that later?
No, that kind of like from the beginning, playing this kind of music, I was just always I liked the idea of more being a power hitter than more technique.
Sure.
And I just kind of ran with that. I always thought throwing in more toms. I don't want to say tribal, but just kind of more tom work, flams.
Sure.
Almost like marching type.
Of course.
Mixing that with some of the, if double kick underneath it, just huge flam sounds. It just would. I loved it. That's what would get me off, I guess, and more into it, get the adrenaline going kind of thing. So I just ran with that style. And it always, every time, even as each album, or our writing would progress, after a while I'm thinking like, all right, I can't do as much tom work. I got to try something different. But
it always sounds good.
Yeah, once I lay down a beat and it's just like, dude, that's the one,
Right.
So it kind of just ends up being like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, how did you end up hooking up with Matt and doing High on Fire in the first place?
I just I threw my drums and some clothes in my car, started driving, ran out of money in San Francisco, met some friends out there.
From Connecticut to San Fran?
Yeah.
Cross country?
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
Ballsy. How old were you?
22, 23.
Ballsy, man.
Yeah. So it paid off, I guess. But yeah, I got out there, I was jamming with some people, and just the people I was connecting with out there there was no connection. I was just like, this ain't working. I'm going to head back east.
What were you looking to do at the time? Any particular style?
No, I actually at the time, I was kind of into like some more of the just more crazy, noisy stuff. I liked Unsane.
Of course.
And
I had Vinny on the podcast. He's a character beyond characters.
Yeah,
He's unbelievable.
He's good. Actually, what's funny, I ended up jamming with Chris Spencer out there when he started that Cutthroats 9 thing.
Oh, wow.
But I was just too busy with High on Fire.
Right.
So it just kind of didn't work. But that was cool because I was like, oh shit, I'm fucking jamming with Chris and the Unsane. Yeah. So but anyway, so that was something I was kind of looking to do. But Melvins, I was into that.
Right.
Well,
that big, heavy, once again, sort of thunderous. It's Dale in particular is such an unorthodox player, but I could see how the Melvins would certainly carry over into the High on Fire.
Yeah, I liked that he did a lot of the flam.
Yes.
Double kick underneath
stuff.
the tom stuff. It sounded awesome. Yeah. So, but just the people I was meeting out there, we didn't have anything. There was no connection. It just wasn't anything in common. So I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to take off. But then a friend of mine just told me, he's like, hey, I got a friend whose band just broke up. You might want to drive down to San Jose, meet him. His name's Matt. And I kind of heard of Sleep at the time, but I wasn't like super familiar with them.
Right.
But once we got together and started jamming, it just kind of clicked. and here we are.
So you were ready to roll, and your friend altered your life course.
Pretty much, yeah.
I would say he did.
I don't know if I should thank her or fucking slap her across the face, because sometimes, you definitely question the choices you make. But no, it's been an awesome ride, I guess.
Yeah, you're going on 20 years.
20 years. It's going to have its ups and downs. It's a relationship.
Of course.
So we just, there's been no penetration.
Right.
Yet.
Right, exactly. I was about to say you can't do
I'm
makeup
just
sex. So the makeup sex doesn't apply, which makes the relationship even harder. You know?
Totally.
But then again, I guess you could maybe slap a bandmate, and just let the chips fly.
Oh yeah, there's definitely been some altercations along the way for sure, but
20 years, I bet.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, for sure. So.
Nice. So when you originally hooked up with Matt and heard his style, I guess like you said, you weren't really necessarily accustomed to maybe that, if maybe you're coming from more of the noise rock sort of
more like East Coast hardcore. I loved it, Sick of It All.
Right.
I loved Sheer Terror. There's
Right.
still one of my kind of that newest Sheer Terror that came out. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So so it was a little different, but I think we've definitely met in the middle, and it's cool. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But one thing, when I first started jamming with Matt, I liked his kind of just raw, stripped down style.
Absolutely.
And loud.
Fuck yeah, he
so
is.
That was it. Just over some beer and bourbon, it kind of just clicked.
You wear earplugs, don't you?
I do now.
You do. Okay, that's what
I didn't. I used
early
to not
on, really, with
yeah.
that volume of that band.
Yeah. It was.
How are your ears doing?
Surprisingly well. There's a little bit of hearing loss in the left ear, but I think that's from the hi-hat side.
Right.
So just of the high end. But it's
Right.
not much, so yeah. Anyway, after getting that hearing test and knowing that it's not totally blown, I started wearing earplugs. Yeah.
I felt like I was equally happy when I found out that I didn't have any STDs as to when I got my hearing checked, and I was like, these are kind of on par. I thought for sure maybe I had some hearing loss.
Go for both tests in the same day, just knock them out.
Be fucking walking on sunshine the entire day.
Right,
Listen to that song over and over in my Walkman. Well, originally when you started out, I know you were doing a single bass drum and a big toms and a single bass drum, right?
Yeah. Actually, before I was playing with a double pedal, but then when I started jamming with Matt, I was just like, I don't really need it.
Right.
I just strip it down even more.
Yeah.
And then I kind of wanted to go Bad Brain style. If I didn't if I did do any type of double bass, quote unquote double bass stuff, kind of do it with the floor tom instead. But then as our writing progressed, this got a little faster, just seemed like more need for it.
Mm-hmm.
I brought back the double pedal.
Yeah.
And it just kind of filled it out a little better.
Definitely.
And but then I went with the double kick once I started. I got a Tama endorsement. So they're like, what kind of kick? What do you play? I'm like, well, what do I play? What do I want to play if I'm getting these drums?
Right.
Let's start big, and I'll come work my way back to small rather than work up. And then once I set up the kit, and those guys saw it, and they're just like, dude, you gotta keep that set up.
Right.
So I've just kind of been with it ever since.
That's amazing. What are the dimensions of the drums that you're playing right now? Because I feel like you're playing bigger bass drums, and you got pretty big toms, power toms.
Yeah, well, when I first went with Tama, it was 224 by 18 kicks, 14-16 rack, 18 floor.
Yeah.
But I was kind of having a hard time with that 16 rack and having it just stay in place.
Right.
So now I'm doing 13-14 rack, 16 floor, and I could still get them to sound. They still have a nice punch.
Right.
And our sound guy can still get a nice big sound out of them.
Yeah.
I feel too it's kind of like just the way my tuning style maybe also still makes it sound pretty big.
Right.
I don't like to tune them too tight.
Yeah.
But I've used a 12. Sometimes like maybe in the studio because it's balances it out a bit better.
Right.
as far as 12, 14, 16, but I don't think I'll go smaller than a 12.
Right.
I don't know. It's
No,
just
I don't hear like octobans or an 8-inch
Yeah.
rototom necessarily in the High on Fire repertoire.
Yeah, I need too good a stick control too. Too many rim shots if I if I go smaller than a 12. No, it just doesn't sound right. So,
Right on.
Yeah.
Now with the records that you've done, I guess correct me if I'm wrong, 7 studio records over what should be 20 years now.
I think that's about right.
I think it's 7.
It is 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 with Relapse, 3 with E1, and the first one with Man's Ruin, which got re-released. So yeah, 7. We're working on our 8th.
Nice.
Yeah.
The last 2 of which you worked with Kurt Ballou on.
Yes.
And I think that both those records sound awesome. I love the way the drums are produced.
Oh, cool.
It's a little bit cleaner, but it's still big. And Kurt
Right.
has a great way of making a clean, yet with the dirt that you want, but big as well. He has a nice balance of doing those things.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
What did you learn, and/or do you feel that the songs and the production as well sort of changed once you started working with Kurt for those records?
Well, I learned that he's a hard guy to impress.
I've heard this much.
After a take, I'm just like, fuck yeah, I nailed it. That's awesome. And I kind of look over, and he's just like, huh, yeah, all right, good. You want to try it again? I'm just like, really, man? Come on, dude. Loosen up a little bit. No. Working with him's great. I mean, like you said, I just think it's a bit for the drum-wise, he gets it tight so you could hear everything.
Yeah.
But it also he finds that good balance of the room sound. He's definitely got his studio dialed in, and we're about ready to go back in there, actually. So
nice. Going for a 3rd round.
Yeah.
Are the songs more or less written, or in those instances do you go in and have the time to write while you're there, or is it more or less let's get these songs worked up? And
a little of both. I wish we were, we try to be on top of it and responsible, but we never go to the studio fully prepared, which as the drummer really bugs the shit out of me.
Oh yeah, you're the first in line.
Exactly.
You gotta have this shit together.
So it's like I'm tired of going on tour and like, wow, I wish I would have played it like this in the studio. But sometimes maybe that is good, because some improv comes out of it, and might try some things that I would have never have done once I think about it too much and have it like mapped out,
Right.
So, but we usually every time we've gone in there, and this 3rd time isn't going to be any different. We have about at least half to 3/4 of the record done.
Nice.
And we'll usually finish in parts to finish the last 1 or 2 or 3 songs in there. And then, a lot of the times, like for me, I'm working out fills kind of on the fly in there.
Yeah.
And then I guess when Kurt, that's kind of he'll do a little, on the producing side, he'll help out on just whether he likes, a fill that I've done or not, and then we kind of work off of it. Not every single one.
Right. That would suck.
No. Yeah.
That would super suck.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a band that plays a lot of fills.
Right.
It was just like constantly critiquing.
But I'll definitely respect his opinion, and there's lots of discussions to be had between myself and him and the other guys.
Right.
So, if there's anything I'm questioning, like if it's not done yet, so. And it always usually reverts back to the toms. Yeah, do the toms. That's the one that sounds the best. It's like, fuck, all right.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So.
It's the recurring theme with the High on Fire songs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, man, once again, if it works, I guess there's no need in fixing it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, totally.
That's sick. In working with him, I think the last record in particular was I think it's my favorite that y'all have put out. I love the energy of it.
Cool.
I love it's got a great balance of ferocity, and I mean, like in Brooklyn, it's kind of funny. There are so many doom bands. Doom is kind of like
pretty big.
the hip thing,
Yeah.
But more often than not, those doom bands just play super slow, kind of drony stuff.
Right.
So I like the good balance of sort of the punk rock ferocity mixed with
Right.
a doom breakdown, and then perhaps a fucking guitar solo.
Right. Yeah.
I love it that y'all have guitar solos, man.
Yeah, it's got to be a solo in every song.
Goddamn right there does, man.
So yeah, I mean, I think that last record, I felt, as far as our technical abilities at the time, or our playing, we were pretty on point. Like we all felt very practiced and up to par.
Yeah.
So finishing songs in the studio of that last one was not too difficult. So yeah, I guess I got my work cut out for me on the next one, because we always like to try to build off the previous one.
Yeah.
And I would think, getting older and talking about just having to spend more time warming up, I would have liked each record to get easier, but they don't. They get.
No, you've been on the opposite
difficult.
trajectory for sure.
Yeah, they get more physically demanding each time.
Certainly,
so
I feel like the BPMs are stepping up.
They are, yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I got to try to stay in shape, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's all about just the return to your hardcore roots and playing those upper BPMs, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, just trying to see if I can. See how far I could take it, I guess.
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of like that's just while we're writing what we're liking at the time,
Now, you guys have definitely done no shortage of touring. What for bands that are thinking that they're gonna hit the road and they're gonna do the touring thing? Do you have any words of advice for a band trying to start out and actually do that shit? Start young. Would be the first
start
one?
young. Treat it like a real job.
Yeah, that's
kind
a good
of
one.
because I know. I mean, yeah, have fun, do your partying, but. If you're going to be out on the road for 4 to 6 weeks, it's mentally and physically draining.
Yes.
So, and if you're together with 3, 4, 5 guys stuck in a van,
yeah,
and you're getting no sleep after 4 or 5 weeks, I mean, shit's going to start to fall apart. Not just, you're playing, but also the your relationship again. And like you said, there's no makeup sex.
Right.
So, just pace yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I can think of right off the bat.
What is one of the busier years that High on Fire has had with, like, how many shows have you played? The most shows you played within a year, would you say?
After being out with Relapse, and I think when the first record we did with Relapse, Surrounded by Thieves, we fucking tore our balls off on that. I think the longest we were out was 10 weeks.
Jesus.
And that one put a hurting on us.
Really?
Yeah, it really did. And I mean, there's good stories that come out of it, But
yeah. Do you have anyone in particular that you?
Jeez, I can't even think right now. You put me on the spot. I gotta make cliff notes for something like that. Or
right.
Cheat
right.
sheet.
If it comes back to you, let me know.
All right. But yeah, we toured a lot on that. So I mean, now I think just we don't need to tour quite as much. Where we just hit every small town in between each big city.
Right.
And plus, I mean, for us, it's just better to not tour so much,
I agree.
Because as far as keeping the band together.
Yeah.
Because, like I like going back to pace yourself.
Right.
So we have to take it a little slower now,
I hear you.
I guess. I don't know. Plus longer sets.
Yeah.
Just like, just physically wearing on all of us. So, yeah.
Prior to joining High on Fire, had you done much touring or any kind of extensive touring like you?
Yeah. I was in a band. It was called Mind War.
Okay.
We did mostly just stuff in Europe, oddly enough.
That's
it was funny. A friend of ours from Brooklyn
really
moved to Berlin, Germany. Kind of played our demo for someone over there who had a little small label. He brought us over there. We recorded and just toured almost exclusively just Germany.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, I think 18 or 19 at the time.
Whoa, really?
19.
Yeah.
And then that after doing that tour, I was just like, this is what I want to do.
No shit.
So once that band kind of fell apart, that's why I just threw my drums in the car and went west. So just to see because I'd never been really further west than, I don't know, Jersey.
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so... yeah.
Wow. It's funny you mentioned Germany. I went over there, did a tour, the only European tour that I've ever done. And I say tour, but it was only like 5 or 6 gigs or whatever.
Right.
But that one trip was like the single validating moment of my 26 years of playing drums because I actually felt like I was appreciated.
Right.
So it was an
sure.
eye-opening moment or series of moments. And it's funny that you say that because... Yeah, I was older when it happened, but I do absolutely. I remember being so appreciative of it.
Yeah, something like that can definitely be, life changing or life defining, in a way. So yeah.
Well, with all the gigs that you played, I know, and there's obviously been a ton of them. Is there anyone in particular that strikes you as being a very strange gig?
Strange. Oh shit, I don't know.
Which could encompass a lot of things.
Yeah.
From equipment meltdowns to just bizarre crowds to bizarre
man.
venues to.
Well, I mean, the first time going to Japan.
Oh, really?
That was strange, but in an awesome way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was amazing.
How many shows did y'all play out there?
Each time we've been 3 times. Each time we go, it's 3 shows. Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. Actually, talking about a strange tour, but the last time we were there for that earthquake.
Oh,
shit. Where they had the tsunami.
What?
Yeah. Which was with the Melvins.
Really?
Which was 2 weeks after we were in Christchurch, New Zealand, with the Melvins for an earthquake. So
what?
1 tour, two hemispheres, 2 earthquakes. It fucking scared the shit out of us both times.
I bet it did.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And we never got to play that Tokyo show.
Oh, man.
And from what I hear, Buzz refuses to ever step foot in Japan again.
He's just freaked out?
Yeah, it freaked him out too much.
I hear you.
It was bad.
You know what I noticed, and I've mentioned it before as well, the Germans can be kind of stoic in the way that they observe music, you know? And then afterwards they'll tell you it was great. You couldn't necessarily read that in their body language or, anything.
Yeah. They'll say congratulations on your concert.
Congratulations on your concert.
Hey, yeah.
So
I guess
formal.
that's good. Yeah. Although I have done some interviews with German magazines after record a new record coming out, and shit you not, I've been asked like, so did you purposely try to play a little sloppy on this one? I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. I thought I actually played pretty good on this last record. So, maybe not quite efficient enough for the Germans. But
that's amazing. What was the Japanese reception? How do they deal with witnessing music? Do they react wildly, or are they kind of?
Like if the they would lose their shit during the song.
Yeah.
And when the song is over, probably about literally 3 or 4 seconds of loud applause and screaming, and then completely silent. Total respect for the band. Whoever's doing the talking. So
Whoa.
if Matt started talking or something, just complete silence. No noise or disrespect in between songs, and we start playing again, and then they lose their shit again. So.
Another disciplined and very formal country.
Yeah, for sure.
Wild.
Yeah, it's a crazy
Damn.
experience. Yeah.
Well, one last question, man. We were talking about solos earlier, and in particular, Matt's. Do you have any particular guitar solos that when you hear them, you're like, God damn it, that's the guy. I love to hear a guitar solos from that fucking guy.
I always kind of like, I can't think of someone in particular, but I always, in the writing process, try to throw these in there too, or tell Matt to throw one in. Those kind of like dive bomb notes, I call them.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They go, something like that. It's just, I always love that. I don't know.
Right.
It sounds just like that too. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good name. Dive bomb makes sense then for that.
Yeah. So.
What would be the 8th record? When are y'all looking to put it out? So I had 2 questions.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We're hoping to come out by the end of summer 2018.
Right on.
That's what we're hoping. So,
all right.
Man.
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you do not play as sloppy as you did on the other one.
I must tighten it up, yeah. Tighten the playing up. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah,
Des, thanks, man.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Des and Co. for rocking out yet another Killer High on Fire show. Be on the lookout for the 8th High on Fire full-length record coming out this summer of 2018. We'll see if they can build off of 2015's Luminiferous, which was one hell of a record, and as I said during the interview, my favorite thus far. Maybe even the Germans will approve of the drumming. Catch you on the next one. Crash, bang, boom!